Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's April, and for today's tea talk, I am drinking this. It is Simpson & Vale's Wild Cherry Black Tea. This is my favorite cherry tea. I think ever besides like cherry almond. I really love cherry almond. But if you're in the mood for like a really deep cherry flavor and you want something that's not too berry overwhelming, then this is the one because it's really good. And I highly recommend it. Also, fun fact, this little teacup right here and saucer is from my little cousin. She got this for me because I got married last month. She got me this as a wedding gift and she saved up her own money and she bought this for me, and I thought that that was like the nicest thing ever. So this has been the teacup that I've been using for a month now. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to just do a recap of my 2019 resolutions, talk about how they turned out, talk about some of my 2020 resolutions, and then the things that I'm going to change or the approaches that I'm going to take this year. So first things first, my hair, ignore it because I have not taken an iron to it like all week. I'm exhausted, so ignore that. However, 2019, okay, so some like major things happened in 2019. Most importantly, I converted to Catholicism, which was like the best decision I've ever made in my life. I don't know, I'm just so glad that happened. So many things have come of that, which we need to get to in another video, and I've been meaning to make that video, but I just don't want to say anything incorrect, so I've been really hesitant to make it. So that happened. My nephew was born, which was like, he is literally the cutest baby on the planet, and like I know everybody says this about their like family's babies, but like I'm literally convinced that he's like the cutest. So we're thrilled about that. Obviously I had my bridal shower, and then my wedding was last month, December 8th, which was great. Everything was super smooth, and I know a lot of people had asked for me to do like wedding planning videos, but unfortunately I am not a wedding planner. That is not my thing by any means. It's not fun for me. Planning things are like, it's just so overwhelming for me, and planning parties and stuff like that is just not me. I'm not big with like socializing. However, everything went really smoothly. Like we just went to one vendor for each thing and we just booked them right away, one venue. I tried on one dress and everything was perfect. So if you wanted to go see pictures, I posted some on my Instagram. My new last name is Sixsmith, so if you have me under April Maroshick, my maiden name, now I'm changing everything over to Sixsmith, which a lot of people didn't want me to do that either because they're like, it's gonna get confusing. It's not confusing. It's much easier to spell the last name Sixsmith, and that's my new name, so I'm going to be changing that all on social media as well. So with that said, my 2019 resolutions were kind of off because I was just so busy with these like very important things that were going on. So I focused less on like what my resolutions were on the beginning of the year and more so on becoming like a more devout Catholic and you know, focusing on just getting married because that was just like overwhelming in a big sense. So I kind of let my resolutions go a lot. However, I did also change jobs. Like I went full-time into acting and modeling, which was something I'd always obviously wanted to do that, but I didn't think I would be able to, and I was able to make that jump last year, which is huge for me. So I'm really grateful for that. However, like always, I fell into a bout of depression, which we've talked about on this video, on this channel, like 5 million times now. This is no secret to anybody, so that's been a little bit rough for me to get myself back into the swing of things, but we are working on that, and all is good. We have a plan set. So last year, I created a word, and the word that my word for the year was grace, and I really tried to stick with that. I mean, I definitely failed in many areas, and a few pop into my mind immediately because I was so ungracious. I don't know what the word is. Whatever it was, I was that in a lot of situations in my life. But I did stay conscious of it, which is something that I typically fail to do. Like I'll create a word at the beginning of the year that I want to focus on, and then I just kind of like let it go. However, grace was my word, and I focused really hard on it, and it's something that I actually really want to continue focusing on throughout this year. Although my word this year now is fortitude. My best friend Brittany, she actually sent me this like thing where you it's like a random like search, like a generator, and you can find a saint for the year and you can find like a word for the year. So my word is fortitude and my saint is Saint Rita, and she is a saint of like loneliness and a bunch of things. Yeah, so that's that. So my word this year is fortitude. So I'm going to work on like having strength and weakness and being able to continue when I am struggling, which is something that I fail at a lot, like 99% of the time. So we're gonna work on that. I also created a bucket list last year, which I think was really helpful for me. I have a whole folder in my iPad of like it's just like a journal, and each different thing is like, I have my resolutions, I have a list of like triggers. That way I am aware of like when something's gonna trigger me, I know how I'm gonna react. So like to stay calm, things like that. People that I look up to, I have a list for that. Questions that I want answered, I have a list for that. Yeah, and then my bucket list. So part of my bucket list, that's like a lifelong one. So I wanted to add some of those things to this list right here. So I want to buy a house. For this year, my bucket list, I want to buy a house. I want to travel to 2 new countries. And pay off all of my student loans, which are not supposed to technically all be paid off this year, but I would like to do that if that's possible. So I think for our honeymoon, we are going to Italy and Switzerland in April, so that should knock that off. We've been looking at houses, which is good, and obviously, we're working on paying off my student loans. So I'm working on those things, which is good. I also created like habits. So my big thing is, I'm really bad at like sticking to schedules and stuff. But when I do, it works really well for me. So it's just like a constant battle, like when you're battling your own mind all the time, to get yourself to do those things. So I have help with my priest. He helps me like create this routine, this structured routine, which is super helpful. So all of my habits, I have to do a holy hour every day. I like to go to daily mass if I'm not working during that time. Like if I'm working, then I have to go to work, so I can't do daily mass, but I can always do a holy hour at church when I'm done with work. Take my supplements every single day, which is important. If you're not doing that, you should consider it. I have that I want to listen to a new podcast every day because I just like to hear people's thoughts on things. And I'm also one thing I got much better with, sorry if this video is very like rambly, but one thing I got a lot better with last year is that I stopped like scrolling through social media. I just stopped. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I did it intentionally. I think I might have. I think because Brittany and I, my friend that I told you guys about, we had decided that on Sundays we were going to take a social media break. And like the first time that we did that, it sat with me so well because it was just, the day seemed much longer and more peaceful and not so distracting. I was much more able to focus. So even though we gave that up on Sundays, I kind of like carried that mindset throughout the week. So I just suddenly stopped scrolling. What I do now is I just like look up people when I want to, like when I want to see what somebody's doing. For example, Brittany, if I want to see what she's doing, I'll just like, well, besides texting her 24/7, I'll just, look at her social media. Or if there's a blog that I really like, I'll then search that up, but I don't allow my newsfeed to dictate what's gonna be put into my head for the day. So that's been really helpful for me. I also want to take like a new class every day online. So I have Skillshare. If you guys don't have the Skillshare app, I highly recommend it. I think I have a referral code, and if I do, I will list it in the comment section below, where you can do like, I want to say it's like 2 months free, something like that. But yeah, even if you don't want to use my code, you want to go sign up, do whatever you want, I don't care. But I just recommend it. They have things for everything. So like cooking, if you want to learn how to cook, you want to learn how to bake, you want to learn marketing stuff, like whatever you want to learn, there's a class for it by people who are like experts in those fields. Reading every day, which is something that's not usually hard for me. However, when I'm in a little bit of a bout of depression, it's a little bit hard for me to focus. So I wrote it down because I just don't want to forget to do it. I have a weird thing on my bucket list, which, not my bucket list, my habit list. I'm really, really terrible at watching TV and watching movies. Like I don't watch any movies ever, and I pretty much watch The Office on repeat 24/7. And people are always making these references and whatever, and I never know what they're talking about. So one of my new things is to watch either a new show or a new movie like every week. So even if that means just like one episode of a show or something like that, that's what I'm gonna do. I watched The Crown. If you haven't watched The Crown and you love the royal family, you are missing out. I mean, that show is amazing, and I took some like pretty good life lessons from there, because that show is just so good. Anyway, so that's one of them. Oh, and then I want to work out a half hour every day. So I have to do that outside, and to me it doesn't matter how cold it is or if it's raining or whatever. I have to get outside and out of my room, because sometimes if you're more introverted, you want to like just be inside, but it's really important to get that fresh air, which is like super helpful. So those are the habits that I want to build. I want to give up cursing because I tend to just curse a lot out of habit. I just don't do it anymore. It's not attractive, it's not appealing, there's nothing about it that's good. So I want to give that up, and I want to give up soda. So I think I've tried to like give up soda in the past, like for brief periods of time. It just never worked. I just kind of didn't take it seriously. You guys knew I took my coffee thing seriously, so I gave up coffee. But I want to do the same thing with soda now, and I'm already having a hard time with it. I've gone, what is it, January 6th, so I've gone 6 days without it. It's tough, but I am trying, so we're gonna do that because I know that I've done it with coffee, so there's no reason why I can't do that with soda. And then I have goals. So I have 3 goals, and I know that this is kind of weird. My goals may not be like what you would think that they should be. I want to have deeper prayers, which I do have a pretty good prayer life, but I want to have deeper prayers. I want to forgive an enemy completely. There's not one specifically that comes to mind, but the idea of working through forgiving an enemy is what I would really like to do this year. And I want to comfort the afflicted. So whenever somebody needs an ear, or they just want to go for a walk, or they can't walk and they just want to sit, even if they want to sit in silence, like I want to be the one who's there with them doing that. So those are my goals for the year. So I have it saved in my journal, and it's digital. The reason I'm doing it that digitally instead of in my like regular journal thing that I write is because it's on my phone, so I can carry it with me everywhere. So I can always like reference my notes all the time, even throughout the day, so I could just stay mindful of what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that will be helpful. Also, I have the Habits app. It's literally called Habits. I will also link that in the description below. I hope I remember to do that. It's just great. So they can remind you to create a habit, and it tells you like what percentage you're at before you actually build the habit by how many days you do it in a row. So far I've been sticking to all my habits every day. Obviously I'm only 6 days in, but it's better than nothing. And I'm hoping that I continue to do that. And it's good to have the reminder on my phone, like when it like reminds you like, hey, you didn't do this yet. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. So that is that. Let me know what you guys are doing differently this year than what you did last year, and if you have any new goals this year, if you recommend any new goals for me. And yeah, if you guys didn't watch my last video, you can go click right here and go watch that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.